Okay, well, if somebody, there's a couple questions here, concerns here. First of all, somebody apparently set it up. Secondly, somebody backed it with some level of financing. My understanding is that's what NKVD is, right? It's some sort of play on the spy gate, right? The Russian spy, but not just the Russian spy, a Soviet spy, the NKVD. But the NKVD is NK and VD, as in North Korea, and nukes from North Korea, and VD, as in venereal disease, right? And so you have nuclear assets. And some of them are in shelters, right? And some of them are kind of like loose nukes. And the whole idea is that you want to deactivate the warhead. And what we've been trying to go for is to get people to accept low enriched. Anyway, because that highly enriched, well, it can be high maintenance. And it might have an expectation that you adhere to the standards you're supposed to adhere to in order to engage with it. But that doesn't really work with the discount bargain market flip scam the United States likes to use as part of its nuclear paradigm. Where when it gets too messy because they're trying to hold you accountable for all those standards you don't really want to deal with because there's no money in regulatory reform, you find a way to condemn it, and then you can either find a way to write it off somehow or charge it off somehow if it's too much in debt, or if you have the intervention of the state, which with certain assets you have to have the intervention of the state, you condemn it and then it gets taken into public domain so it can be used as collateral for a whole bunch of deals that go through the public, including contracts for public services, right? All these different things, they're really great. But at some point you got someone like North Korea, right? You literally got a country that has a nuclear paradigm, and you say, well, we don't want you to develop weapons. We want you to stop your nuclear power. You're not allowed to do these sort of things. We told you not. Somebody comes up with a scheme and says, okay, we're going to have a term here. And we're going to bet on you not using those nukes. That if you don't use them, and if you don't acknowledge them, and if you don't let them go off, right, then you'll get some payoff. Now, the way it works is that, a nuke can be used as very, very high level collateral, right? So you just label her nuclear. And you want her to perform at a certain level, but what if she just happens to be really fucking highly enriched and she's that fucking capable? Well, the whole point is you can't really acknowledge her. You can't really let her go off. At least in a way that anybody's going to acknowledge. You have to characterize it some other manner. She's schizophrenic. She's hysterical. She's involved with terrorist. And she's a sex predator. She's just jealous. Spiteful. Chastise her. Keep chastising her. Keep chastising her. So there's a time when a particular archetype of woman from the United States was supposed to be promoted as the highest ascendancy, the archetype of the American man, right? But there's been all these struggles, body type, diversity, women's liberation, not wanting to deal with the oppression of white supremacy. Perspectives of women change. And so we're supposed to also change our perspectives of women as nuclear assets. It's unfortunate somebody allowed for a paradigm to unroll where only white women are acknowledged as being highly enriched enough to be subjected to the kind of protracted and prolongated trafficking that comes with smuggling or speculating on a highly enriched uranium warhead. But then every once in a while you get something a little special. I think they call it strategic, right? You want to reprogram it. You deplete her. The expectation is she's not going to live through it. And then you take what you like and you parse it up, you create something else. Well, now we're in this situation where we're dealing with an older generation. Our arsenal is aging. We don't want to deal with Social Security accurately. We let a lot of young people into Medicare at a time we should not have because the older generation was expecting something and nobody was honest and told them they weren't entitled to have it. And now we are where we are. My understanding is that we're coming up on 4 years of a very specific deal. The NKVD deal, my understanding, it was supposed to be 5 years. But the understanding is that some people bet on it not being used. They place bets, they buy into, they invest in, understanding we're going to reward you, we're going to take care of you, we're going to give you some things. It might be in the, down low. But you're the one that wants to have nukes. You're the one who wants to have nukes. So, if you don't use them, we'll give you something. And then there's got a couple people that are like, all we got to do is get them to use it once. All we got to do is get them to use it once, and we get the whole pot. We get the whole largesse. All we got to do is get them to use it once during this 5 years. If we make the right hit, we can get everything. And so what do? You're going to use your nuke or not? It's completely disgusting that you decided that you were going to back in code my legal filings and actually literally take my efforts at due process and make actual weapons out of them. That's what you did. I know you did. You already had a plan to do it. You've already used much of my life for weapons. I know, right? But you had no place going plutonium, guys. You had no place going plutonium. That's a little out there, right? See, there could have been all kinds of other ways this could have been dealt with. It really could have been. So don't make any pretenses here. That's what you did. And the ironic thing is, and the unfortunate thing is, you chose a specific kind of archetype of person and a specific kind of genotype of person to make an example of at a very exclusive level. And I'm really not going to let this go. There's no forgiving. There's no playing along. I could very well have had a meaningful relationship with any number of entities or people that you seem to think are so desirable, slandering and attempting to lure into iniquity. This has gone way too fucking far.